Oh, merciful days. Whew. All right. Well, as you can see, I am on top of a big old tower. We are in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and this is the very summit of the famed Culps Hill. So we're going to kind of take a look around here, and then we're going to get back on the ground and do a little bit of exploring here at the far right flank of the Union line here at Gettysburg. Oh, yeah, I should not have done that. All right, now before I get to talking about Culps Hill, there are a few things that I probably need to establish. First, the name Culps Hill is a little bit deceptive. It really should be called Culps Hills. Just in the same way on the southern end of the battlefield that there's a big round top and a little round top, at Culps Hill there's an upper Culps Hill and a lower Culps Hill. Second, why is Culps Hill important? Well, if you look at it, it's, again, looking at the famous fish hook formation of the Union line, Culps Hill is on the barbed end of the fish hook. At Gettysburg, there are 10 roads that are coming into town. During the battle, the Confederates control 8 of them. So behind Culps Hill, which would be off to my right from where I am right now, is the Baltimore Pike. If the Union loses Culps Hill, they lose control of the Baltimore Pike, and the Army of the Potomac supply line would be cut off, and basically the Union forces would be in a bad shape. Now, the last thing that I need to establish is that when it comes to the fighting at Culps Hill, there's a lot that I don't understand. I understand a little bit, but I'm still learning. So there's a few stories here that I want to tell, though, that as I've learned about them, I've found them quite fascinating. So right now, I'm standing just below the monument to the 150th New York Infantry. And earlier today, I was with Dave Collins, and he was helping me to understand Culps Hill a little bit more, and he explained that on a lot of the monuments, you'll see earthworks integrated into the design. Well, that was something that was a huge part of the battle on Culps Hill. The brigade commander for this general area was a guy by the name of George Sears Green. He may have been the oldest general on the battlefield. They called him Pap Green. But anyway, whenever his men got up here, he insisted that all of them build up earthworks, cut down logs, pack them with dirt, do anything that they could to build up their defenses. Now, the Corps commander, Slocum, and also the division commander for this area, whose name was John Geary, insisted that it was unnecessary to do that. It would just wear the men out, and that the hill itself provided enough protection for the men. But Green insisted that they keep digging in and they keep building these earthworks. And it's a good thing that he did, because what was going to be coming up this hill was going to be nothing short of treacherous for the Union troops. Now, on day 2, the Union had a big problem. General Dan Sickles had moved his line way out, which created some gaps in on the Union left flank. And whenever Longstreet attacked, General Meade was forced to pull multiple brigades from Slocum's 12th Corps over on Culps Hill to plug the gap. That left only 1,300 Union troops under General George Greene, who were left to take on over 4,500 Confederates under General Johnson. And not only were they outnumbered, but their lines were stretched dangerously thin. Now, because of books like the Killer Angels and the movie Gettysburg and Ken Burns' Civil War series, all of which were beyond outstanding, a lot of people know the story of Joshua Chamberlain and the 20th Maine and how they were at the far left flank at Little Round Top and made this heroic bayonet charge down towards the Confederates from Alabama. But what if I told you that over here on the right flank, there is an almost identical story where a regiment, this one from New York, was holding the far end flank and got down to where they had no ammunition, faced a larger force, and had to make a downhill bayonet charge. Well, that is the story of David Ireland and the 137th New York Infantry. So here on Culps Hill, at the very end of the line on the right flank of the Union forces, is a monument to who I'm going to say is the most overlooked regiment in the Battle of Gettysburg, the 137th New York Infantry. Now, I mentioned a little bit earlier how there's an upper Culps Hill and a lower Culps Hill. So if you look up the hill there's my rental car, you can see how it really goes up at a steep angle. So that would be upper Culps Hill. And then, I don't know if you can really tell, but right here in this area, there's a little bit of a saddle. There's a low point, and then it goes up to lower Culps Hill. Well, the Union line went all the way down right here in front of me, and then to protect their right flank, there was what was called a traverse that went across. So this is just another line of defense to keep their flank from being turned. And it's right here where on the evening of July 2nd, the 137th was positioned and was getting ready to face a firestorm from the Confederates. Okay, so where I'm standing now is on lower Culps Hill. You can see upper Culps Hill across the saddle, and you can see my rental car there in the distance just for reference. Now, the 137th advanced up to this position right here to check the advance of the Confederates, and the fighting here was just absolutely murderous. Where Chamberlain was facing a couple of regiments over on Little Round Top, Ireland and the 137th are going to be facing an entire brigade. And the woods would have been fairly open. It looks like the Park Service is kind of doing that right now. There wouldn't have been, really any undergrowth at the time because of farm animals. But the fighting here would have been intense. And just in the same way that Chamberlain's line got bent back, well, so did Ireland's, to a point right over here. So this would have formed kind of like a right angle. Now, Colonel Ireland did get some help from a group of Pennsylvanians who came up over here on his right side, which was nice, at least for a moment, until the Pennsylvanians came under fire and then said heck with it and turned around and just walked back and left really the 137th hanging out here. So they ended up having to turn their flank again and were facing fire from 3 different directions. This is all happening at night as well. So eventually they're running low on ammunition. Ireland orders a strategic withdrawal and had one of his captains, I believe the guy's name was Greg, order a squad to fix bayonets and to charge down towards the oncoming Confederates to give the others time to pull back to the traverse over there on Upper Culps Hill. Now, keep in mind that it's dark, so the thing that is guiding this captain and this group of men who are making this bayonet charge is the muzzle flashes from the Confederate rifles. Absolutely unbelievable. Now, while we are making comparisons between the 20th Maine and the 137th New York, here's another one. Both of these units suffered exactly the same percentage of casualties in the Battle of Gettysburg. Both were over 30%. One big difference is that on the 3rd day of the battle, the 20th Maine was technically not in the fight. The 137th was still here on Culps Hill and going up against reinforcements from the famed Confederate Stonewall Brigade. So these guys were just beat all to heck in the action to defend Culps Hill. So why is it that you've heard of the 20th Maine and of Joshua Chamberlain and not necessarily David Ireland and the 137th New York? Well, they say that history is written by the victors. It's also written by the survivors. David Ireland died of dysentery outside of Atlanta in 1864. So after the war, he wasn't able to tell his story. History is also written by the guy who has the better publicist. So, like I mentioned before, the book The Killer Angels and different movies and documentaries who have focused on Joshua Chamberlain and the 20th Maine have really elevated that position. But you have to include the 137th and many others whenever you're talking about the Battle of Gettysburg. Because while the 20th was securing the left flank, well, it was the guys from the 137th that were keeping things pinned down over here on the right.